Shonen, a genre that has gotten most of us into anime at some point or another. I know it got me into it. It started with Naruto, which turned into me trying One Piece for the first time, which then made me want to go back into older shows, which made me read Dragon Ball. But if I'm being honest, in the newer years, Shonen shows seems to have kind of fallen off. Most newer shows are either just pretty or the story falls flat. I don't know about you, man, but I can't tell shit about what happened in Jujutsu Kaisen. But then among all these mediocre shows, one specific anime caught my eye. That show was called Kaiju No, one of the first shows I watched in Japanese. I did give Yakusoku no Neverando a try. It just didn't really click with me, and the anime is too short, so I had to start reading the manga. But Kaiju No, or as I'm gonna address it for the rest of the video, Kaiju 8, really stood out. It reminded me of Bleach, reminded me of Naruto, reminded me of, well, One Piece, which is still kind of going. It made me become kind of nostalgic about the shows I used to watch growing up, and I think it pays homage to that really well. The show, basically, is about this old dude called Kafka, who wants to be part of the Japanese Defense Force, along with his friend, Mina. This is very, early 2000s shonen. What's actual different here is the fact that Kafka is old. He doesn't fit in with anyone, and he just spends his day cleaning up after all these kaiju fights, all these monster fights that has been going on. His friend Mina has been part of. She has been part of the defense force for a long time, and he has just kind of failed. His life has kind of stagnated, and he doesn't really do anything he loves. Yet his dream, or goal as it may, takes place in a childhood promise that he made with Mina many years ago. So we follow Kafka, first of all becoming part of the defense force at an age of 40 something, and the challenges that comes along with that, like sticking out, not being as quick or strong as his fellow trainees, always being undermined by his officers. And the dynamic between Kafka and his fellow classmates, if you want to call them that, really reminded me of the movie The Internship for some reason. Two older guys who just doesn't really fit in, but yet tries and kind of makes it anyways at some point.
Lyle, one of the team managers, pound me.
Oh, well, me at my current school, I'm 26, and most people around me, at least in my class, are start 20s. I'm not old, that's not what I'm saying, but I can definitely feel that I am the odd one out in this case. And then Kafka fucking up in the Japanese world, forgetting to use suffixes such as san and kun when addressing Mina, at least. In Japanese, this is called yobiste. It kind of reminds you most of the time that, well, they used to be friends, they grew up among each other, and therefore he has a hard time actually showing respect to her or seeing her as a superior, which she legally is. But despite the difference in rank, it is very clear throughout the entire show that Mina has a deep respect for Kafka for trying and never really giving up on this dream of becoming part of the defense force, even though he at this point is, well, kind of too old. And yeah, it has many normal shonen tropes like superpowers, like Kafka being able to turn into a demon, which happens in the first episode. The humor that Kafka uses, or the humor that is used in the show in general, is very 2000s shonen. But that's kind of what I like about it, you know? It's comforting. It's a hug of something that we haven't had for a long time. I don't know if this show is gonna hit with anyone who didn't grow up watching 2000s shonen though. As I said earlier, this has a very special place in my heart because this was the first anime that I started watching fully in Japanese and felt like I was actually understanding. Yes, I watched Pokemon and Digimon, and I also read Gitsubato before, but those were kind of easy to understand. This was my first proper show with Japanese only. No help from dictionaries, no help from anything. And due to that, it just means a lot to me for some weird reason. And as I mentioned before, it has those classic shonen types of being able to transform and the humor between the main character and his best friend, and he's always the underdog and that type of thing that is still present here. You're not gonna miss that. If you didn't like it in the earlier shonens, you're not gonna like it here either. And the humor might be weird sometimes, maybe it won't stick with you, but it started with me. It made me laugh. There's some awesome fight scenes if you get further into the show, and the OST for the fights and the show in general is just amazing. The actual soundtrack is well done. It gets you hype, gets you ready to actually fight, and you're just rooting for Kafka to, well, beat the shit out of whoever he's beating up, or trying to at least. Oh, and also there's the typical Levi is type of character, which, if you like that, you like that. I was never really personally a fan of Levi or Bakugo. As much as I liked Levi fighting as a character, he didn't really stick with me, and the captain here is kind of the same. So I don't want to spoil the show for you. I don't want to give everything away. I think you should give it a read or watch. And if you do watch it, please do enjoy the amazing opening and ending made. At least in Japan and in some countries right now, they're doing a recap of the first season in the form of a movie that you can go watch in the cinemas. It is just the first season, but just cut together into a movie, just like Demon Slayer did at one point. And I definitely think it's worth a watch. I definitely think it's worth your time. At least give it 4 episodes. If so, then if you don't like it by then, yeah, you're never gonna like it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe if you want to catch my next review of Livingstone, one of the most underrated mangas in my opinion that just kind of got overlooked, and made by the same author as well, Dead Man Wonderland, which was my first manga. Thank you guys so much for watching.